What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Land. We just had 15 minutes of brand new Super Mario Bros. Wonder gameplay with the new Mario Wonder Direct that just took place, and it showed off so many amazing new things and details that you could have missed. And I have a list of over 100 interesting facts and details about this Nintendo Direct that you guys need to know. So if you are excited about Super Mario Bros. Wonder in this video, make sure you stop what you're doing. We are super close to 250,000 subscribers, where we're going to have a really interesting video for you guys. All you have to do is leave a like and subscribe to help us reach this goal. Let's see how close we can get from this one video. Thank you guys so much for your recent support. I love you all. Let's dive in to the Super Mario Bros. Wonder Direct and talk about over 100 facts and details that you could have missed. First off, we see Mario running onto the screen, and he's passing Luigi, Peach, and some Toads, a yellow and blue one, and riding a Yoshi, which is probably the beginning of the game where all the characters are getting ready on their adventure, and you can just run right past them in order to get to this area where you can see this flower. It's probably just like an opening scene. And we see that they were invited by Prince Florian. Now, we all thought it was going to be Prince Haru from the old Mario film, but apparently Haru is also translated to spring, so maybe it still is a big reference. And when Bowser shows up in his clown car, you can see Kamek fly by on his broom, and also Bowser Jr. in his clown car fly by as well. Bowser then merges with the Wonder Flower, which merges him and Prince Florian's castle in order to turn Bowser into this giant floating castle fortress. Yep, this thing we saw in the first trailer is actually Bowser, which is pretty cool, you gotta admit. And also beside him is Bowser Jr. and Kamek again. And then we see 6 giant piranha plants with new designs on them. Instead of circles, they're like these new diamond styles. And there's 6 of them, which could resemble the 6 new worlds that you have to traverse besides the starting one, which we'll also see later on, and I'll explain a little bit more. Bowser flies away. You can also see parts of his body that's merged into this airship. For instance, his giant green horns now, and also his shell pattern on the back side of the air fortress. Now, we have seen Bowser Jr. look a lot different with one of the boss battles within the first trailer, but as you can see here, he's his regular form. So clearly something happens to him. This might just be the effects of a separate Wonder Flower that transformed him, or maybe some type of corruption that Bowser did to him. As you see the purple and green smoke coming from the machine, it also matches the colors of Bowser Jr. in that scene. After all, it does look like that smoke coming from the airship is able to transform and manipulate things, so maybe he does it to Bowser Jr. as he turns the flag into his flag, and also one of the residents' homes of the Flower Kingdom actually gets turned into a prison, and Bowser's flying across the kingdom manipulating things. We then get a world map overview of Bowser manipulating areas, and one thing that we can actually see is there seems to be some type of Wi-Fi symbol on one of these objects in some type of satellite dish with an antenna. I'm not 100% sure what that's supposed to be, maybe some type of online play or something where you can check online stats, but you can also see another giant castle, which might be the end of the world where we would ultimately fight a boss fight there. On this world map, we can see some type of golden piranha plant area, like some type of statue that you can run over to. Once again, not really sure what that does. We also see some type of jungle world with water, and also some type of beach area with a pool that's shaped like a tear and an island that's like a tear as well. And you can also see one of the residents that's like a vendor, probably where you buy gear, and also the new perk system. We also have a world based on some type of mushroom swamp forest, and also a lava themed area as well. But what's also interesting is, once again, looking at one of these castles at the end, it has that diamond shaped symbol on the front door, which resembles the shape on the piranha plants that sprouted from Bowser as well. And you can even see vines around the castle, which shows that they probably relate to each world. You can also see some mushroom-like objects in the back of the lava area, which might mean these two worlds actually tie into each other and might be the same one. This is just towards the end of the area. But you can also see Potoboos jumping up and down in the background. Then we get a look at the amazing, beautiful world map with 7 areas in total. You start off at World 1 with Pipe Rock Plateau, and then you go to World 2 up to the north, which is Fluff Puff Peaks. World 3 is Shining Falls. World 4 seems to be some type of castle kingdom, or as you can see, there's a giant castle with walls around the outside, which we actually get a little bit of a look at that later on. We also have a beach area in the middle, which is Petal Isles. We have that mushroom forest or cave section in the bottom, and the lava section seems to be in the bottom left, which does look like it kind of ties into one another. But what's interesting about this is it looks like it's not just completely segmented. Like, some of the levels kind of go into each other. You can see some of the beach area over there in the right castle section. You can also see some of the lava section pouring into the mushroom area in the south. So I really do like how they kind of seamlessly flow together instead of just being sectioned off, which I really like. But in that lava section in the bottom left, you can also see giant vine statues, which actually might be from those piranha plants we've seen sprout in the beginning. There also seems to be some type of special wonder seeds in these special crown pods after you probably complete the final boss of each world, and you'll kind of get it marked on the world map as you see a dark blue one and a light blue one for world 1 and 2 respectively. Looking deeper into Pipe Rock Plateau, we see these giant skinny mushroom Goomba-like characters when Mario jumps off the first one and knocks over all the rest. And we see a giant Reznor, or brand new rhino creature, trying to run through Mario and bust through the blocks, very similar to the bullies and also bruiser enemies that would chase after Mario. Next up, we have Fluff Puff Peaks, which actually has some snow elements to it as well. We have these new enemies that kick giant ice blocks towards Mario with their big old shoes. We have a section where Mario is actually up in the clouds of this area, and there's some timed blocks, which means when he steps on them, the number will go down. So he only has 3 steps on each one until eventually he'll run out of steps. But he'll also hit these up and down blocks where I guess if he hits it up, it shoots up, but if he ground pounds on it from the top, it'll probably shoot down. These blocks hit these flower pods, which ultimately spawns a purple coin for Mario. Next up, we have Shining Peaks, where Mario bounces off of a new snail creature and uses his shell just like he would a Koopa Troopa. We can also see some blue triangular fish glide out of the water at an angle, and can see them glowing and blinking before they blast off. You can also see a shriveled up rock piranha plant on the wall, and we've seen this within the first trailer, and I still don't know what it's for. Maybe it needs watered by Elephant Mario, but I can't figure it out. And it seems like maybe piranha plants play a huge role in this game, especially since we've seen the 6 spawn once Bowser transformed into the castle. Next, we have an enemy. When Mario jumps, the enemy jumps as well, and this time it's shooting out horizontal out of the log platform that Mario is on. And every time he jumps, it'll shoot it out like a projectile where it hits the question block and shoots it up into the air, spawning a flower pod, which also spawns some coins for Mario as Mario's falling along the path. Next, we have Petal Isles, which has these new pokey-like enemies that are underwater and they stretch. You also have this sunfish-looking enemy that comes out of the sand, and it's very flat, which reminds me of the Porcupuffer or Cheap Chomp, but this time you're in the water and it's following you while you're in the water underneath the sand. Now, above the water in Petal Isles, you have these new blue birds that actually have these spiky beaks that can shoot out a platform for you. Once it hits a wall, it extends a platform that's blue and white striped and allows you to walk up higher, which is pretty cool. This next area is a desert and looks a lot like the world just next on the world map, which had that castle. But you have these armadillo creatures that try to roll into Mario, and Mario can bounce off of them. It doesn't seem like he can pick them up or anything, but you can also see 2 pots down in the sand below and a golden pipe. This next area is a funky jungle with the mushrooms, probably that southern mushroom world, with weird goo all on the bottom. And you can actually jump and grab these swinging pots that hang from the ceiling, and when you let go, Mario will do a cool fling animation, and it will also fling up and smack them, killing the enemy in the process. Next, we have the lava world, which is probably on the bottom left of the map. We have some interesting things here. For one, Mario is carrying a pot full of water that he's able to throw to extinguish these angry looking block creatures. Well, Mario doesn't throw the pot, he kicks it, which is a pretty cool animation, but you can also see a giant black vine, probably from one of those piranha plants in the background like we saw on the world map, but it doesn't seem to be a statue because it actually is moving a little bit. You can also see a knocked out dry bones looking creature with his tongue hanging out, and he actually transforms as if he's getting ready to walk around, and he has a chain with some type of handle, like probably making us able to pull him or kind of pull him apart. Also seems like the lava blocks are on a timer where they'll also detonate on fire after a certain amount of time and then go back to being dormant if Mario doesn't even splash water on them. Then we have this new enemy, which I couldn't even begin to tell you what it is. It looks like an upside down boot or a boxing glove with feet. I don't know. It has a mouth. That's all I can tell you in feet. I have no clue what this could be. And then we have another lava scene where Mario's on moving platforms and fire spikes are actually spawning where they're throwing fireballs and spitting them out at Mario. And you can see some buzzy beetles down below crawling through the lava. Don't worry, we're still not done. We're still in the overworld section. We have that Mushroom Valley area again, and you can see a ghost house at the top right, which shows, yep, those are returning. Some of the levels also have towers with blue flags. Maybe they're tower levels like in the other new Super Mario Brothers games, which actually meant like the mini boss before you got to the real boss of that world, like the halfway section castle. As Mario goes down lower into the cave networks, you can also see some of those statues that's spewing out that green goo. Some of the statues on the bottom are spewing out that purple weird goo that we we saw earlier as well. We then see one of the level names called An Uncharted Area, Wubba Ruins, and I guess those little green goo things are called Wubbas. Then we see an underground section, like I said, that looks like it connects to the lava section as well, as you can see some lava above Mario and some lava in the background. Then you can see the name of another stage that says Where the Rumbas Rule. So instead of Wubba, we have Rumbas now, which are like these rock creatures that look a lot like boulders from Mario 3D World. And you can see a badge stage or perk stage in the background where Mario will get the spin perk or something, maybe allowing him to twirl in the air like in New Super Mario Brothers. So maybe that's actually tied to a specific perk ability, or maybe it's something else entirely. We do learn that there are areas of the world map that we can freely roam around and we don't have to follow a segmented line, which is really cool. You also can see that Wi-Fi symbol again that says Journey Together. That's probably how you party up with people. We also see one of those piranha plants, this time in full color with that new design all over it, kind of wrapped around a stage, which you have to actually pay Wonder Seeds in order to get rid of the piranha plant and play that level. You can also see a menu that shows us the course's layout where you can actually choose which levels you want to go to in each world, and it gives you the kind of lowdown. It shows you if you collected all the Wonder Seeds, all the 10 purple coins, and it gives you the difficulty and also a flag, which probably shows if you got the top of the flag or not, just like Mario 3D World with that golden flag icon. The map itself is literally just showing Pipe Rock Plateau. And look how massive it is. Look how many levels are spread across just this one area. Yeah, each world is going to be a lot bigger than they have been, like in the new Super Mario Brothers series. At least it looks that way. We also have a Wonder Seed counter at the top and that special Wonder Seed after completing the castle level of each world. And the levels are laid out along the bottom as well, making it very easy to go to the levels that you want or where you're missing things, or if you want to go to a certain level with certain difficulty, the stars are there as well. As you can see, one is a 4-star for the Bull Rush Express, which actually might be the names of these creatures, the Bull Rushes. Which also gives us the name of the new rollerblading Koopa Troopas, the Rolla Koopas, which is pretty interesting. There's also some type of new enemy that we can see in a silhouette theme level, very similar to Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, and Returns, which I really like. And we've even seen like a little glimpse of this so far within the first trailer. But yeah, here's a new enemy. I can't really tell you what it is. We see another area like this again, where it also shows us the flowers in each level can talk to you, maybe giving you some hints and just kind of giving you some fun dialogue along your journey. We also have these new red/orange frog enemies, which we'll get into a lot more detail later. But I really love how just because you're in a world that's themed after something, not every level looks exactly the same. This one's almost like food themed, as you can see like donut-shaped clouds in the sky and also like frosting-tipped trees and grass. Not to mention the cookie designs on the actual stage platforms themselves and the candy-shaped buildings and trees in the background. It even shows that you can interact with some of these flowers, such as this scene where Mario throws water on him as his roots are withering, but you can also see these brand new popcorn enemies that pop up in the air as they jump, which might even start off as kernels and maybe like they pop into popcorn eventually. I don't know. But also when Mario is in idle animation, you can see Prince Florian pop up from his hat. New Toad render of Toad getting broke on the ground and dropping coins. But we have new characters. We have Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Yellow Toad, Blue Toad, Toadette, Yoshi, Red Yoshi, Yellow Yoshi, Light Blue Yoshi, and Nabbit. Now, the Yoshis and Nabbit are easy mode characters, unfortunately, which is going to turn a lot of people off from picking these characters, but I do wonder if we're going to eventually get new ones as well, as none of these characters have special moves to them. They all play the same, which means they could really add anybody at this point, so I'm hoping they do add some new characters eventually. And the same with Luigi, you can see him being chased in some type of ghost house by a monster door with teeth and feet. As Peach gets closer to the Koopa Troopa, you can actually see him physically get angry, which is interesting. You can see the way the armadillo enemies actually curl up into a ball, where their nose with the 2 nostrils is actually sticking out the side, so that's how their heads curled up in there, which is a pretty unique animation. There's new boxes or blocks that actually act like those birds that we saw earlier. When you hit them, extend a striped pole out so you can walk on it like a platform. Here's a clip that made me happier than it should have. So we have the return of the Pokey, very tall one here, but Daisy grabs a green shell and actually tosses it up into the air and kicks it. Literally the same exact way as in Super Mario World. I mean, come on. That has just been such a missed mechanic. I'm just so glad that we can pick up items and toss them in different ways like that. We then get a look at what seems to be a castle stage where Nabbit is just tanking damage, once again being an easy character, but we see Thwomp's return as they try to crush him, and we see fire bars spinning from the ceiling. In the next scene, we see Yoshi running in a lava-themed area. There seems to be some type of handle in the wall that maybe he could grab in order to climb up there. And also you have these fire-spitting piranha plants that are shooting fire from the ceiling in multiple different directions, making this look actually pretty difficult. We see these balloon frogs, but it looks like they're being shot out by air pumps that are connected to the wall that you can actually bounce off of all the way across the gap. We see the regular spikes make a return as they're tossing their spiked balls that Yoshi can eat and spit out, even though he has the ugliest face I've ever seen. We then have this amazing looking area that looks like it's stripped directly from a new Super Mario Bros. Mod. I mean, look at this kind of Oriental Castle themed kingdom, very similar to the Bowser's Kingdom in Mario Odyssey. It's beautiful. Once again, this is probably part of that castle part of the world map, but you can see a Dry Bones walking back and forth, and Yoshi actually eating a Dry Bones and spitting out 3 bones like he would in the actual, well, other games that Yoshi's appeared in. But you also have these really beautiful gold pipes that really just fit with the aesthetic. I love it so much. And you have that weird glowing goop at the bottom of the screen once again, probably left there from Bowser. Now this area was probably a big magnificent kingdom or a castle from Prince Florian, but taken over by Bowser. As you can see, all the horns sticking off of the towers at the top and Bowser flags up there as well. But man, this is already one of my favorite looking areas in any 2D Mario game. Then we get some names of some of these creatures in this little section, and we have the Hoppy Cats, which are spiked mollusk type of enemies that jump whenever you jump. I like this area too. It's like the rain is dripping down from the ceiling of a cave. It's really pretty. Then you have this area where you get the melon piranha plants, which reminds me a lot of Yoshi's Island once again, where Yoshi would eat a watermelon, or the Ukiki monkeys would eat one and spit these seeds out like a machine gun. I really like the return of that, and to see it as a piranha plant form is really cool. Then you have the condarts, which are birds that dart toward you, and they try to stick into you, but they actually just stick into the ground if they miss, where they'll actually eventually pull themselves out of the wall. You have these new conks, which are like new types of thwomps, which moves left and right and eventually drops down on you, or at least falls or rises depending on which way the arrow is pointing. And those goo enemies are once again in that liquid above you. I also like when these things slam through the goo, it actually leaves a slot where there's no goo left, and then eventually it'll mold back into form, which is really cool, almost like Jello. And then you have these mummy creatures called Mumsies, which you can actually grab the handle and unravel. There's lots of enemies and things in this game looks like you can grab handles to, which actually greatly changes how you take enemies on. You can see those handles on the pillars again that you can grab. I wonder if they make the pillars fall down into the foreground, but you can also see a giant question block in the background. It seems to be formed into some type of castle we might be able to play later on in that world, as you can see the front gate. Back to that frog where they're called Maws, they can actually open their mouth really wide and try to chase you and capture you. Toad, you better run faster than that. Next up, we have these big new hammer bros or sumo bros that push blocks, and you can see Luigi trying to push back, but he's not strong enough. He probably needs a mushroom to grow, and you could probably smash them against the wall that's behind them. You can also see little hothead enemies returning that are just like little balls of sparks that follow along a platform. We can see Luigi pushing that block in order to enter the door. And the background is a really cool desert oasis type of area, like Luigi's in some type of giant desert castle, and you can even see out the giant doors / windows, which is really cool. This actually might be where that giant question block in the background was in that prior scene. This enemy looks like a new variant of the Amp or the Flame Chomp, where it's this giant black ball that can fly and also has giant golden teeth that's able to gnaw and bite through these candy-colored platforms or blocks that are floating in the sky. Now, the background seems to be like Mario's in some type of beehive almost, as everything looks like honey back there. Now, maybe this is still from the food or sweets area, where maybe the background is caramel, since the platforms look like colored candy blocks. So that definitely could just be caramel or some type of honey. I'm not really sure. Then, of course, we have some returning enemies like Goombas. We also have Koopa Troopas that now bounce each other's tails or butts off of each other in order to bounce off and go the other direction, which is a really cool animation. We also have a new look for the Boos, which I really like. They look a lot scarier. And we also have Lakitu making a return again, which is good to see. Pretty much the same as he's always been. Now let's jump into the power-ups. One of the new ones is Elephant, and yes, everyone can turn into an elephant. There's even a cool animation when Mario goes down the pipe because he's so big, but Elephant Mario can just lift his trunk and swing it around and even reflect items back at enemies. And it looks like this isn't an automatic thing. It looks like you're going to have to trigger the trunk throw, which is really cool. I really like that, meaning you have to time down your attacks. He's also a giant powerhouse that can bust through pretty much any blocks. Here we see him what looks like to be in one of the castle levels, and it looks like it's in that weird weird Zen sky castle area that I really liked, and you can see him actually able to run across bigger gaps now. Also, there's some weird things spawning from the goo down below, which seems to spawn 2 enemies up above. And yep, it spawns 2 bone Goombas. This looks like to be the work from Bowser, as the stuff that comes out of the goo seems to be purple and green smoke, just like it had coming out of his machine. So it seems like he's able to spawn enemies in these castle levels. Now, it doesn't look like Mario can actually shoot the water out as a projectile, but rather just splash some water on areas that need it, such as growing these vines. We then see Elephant Peach use her trunk to take out some owls that are hatching out of some acorn pods from the ceiling that are trying to fly into her. The bubble power-up allows you to trap enemies in bubbles, and it kills them automatically. You can even see them freak out as it goes near them. Yeah, they get pretty scared with their animations. You can also bounce off of these like platforms, making speedruns insane. You can even see Luigi using a spin jump to throw bubbles on both sides. And there's another scene with Toadette, and as you can see, the bubble flower turns everybody a new shade of purple, which is pretty cool. But as they blow the bubbles, once again it traps enemies and defeats them like it's doing these dry bones, once again in this really cool looking level. The bubbles can even go through solid platforms, but something else that's really interesting is we can see another one of these handles across from this block, which doesn't look like it ever is needed to be used. Like, you can easily jump up there, so it is making me think that maybe you're able to pull some of the things from the background down and make them fall over into the foreground and reveal some hidden secrets back there. I don't know. Also, you can see some flowers that don't have their pods. They're outlined with white dots, and it's probably because you have to run through them first in order to get the coins or whatever to spawn there, so that way you can pick them up, just like we've seen before. Next, we have the drill power-up, which is reminiscent of Mario Galaxy 2's drill item, and also the outfit looks like the Boulder or Rock Mario outfit, just the colors are flipped. He has a red shirt with black overalls. This allows Mario to hit items and enemies above him and below him. As you can see, some things are stuck in crystals that he could ground pound and break them free, such as some coins and flowers. We can see a Rumba enemy come after Mario and him pop it open with his drill, and you can see a little black spider-like creature pop out. You're also able to drill underground and avoid enemies like Peach does these Spinies, and you can even drill into the ceiling. When you see Toad go into the ceiling in this section, there's also that weird goo at the bottom, which probably can spawn enemies once again. And we see that giant bucket that Mario grabbed into earlier in the trailer, and when both of them walk into each other, they have a little cute animation where they touch their handles together and then bounce the other way in a happy expression. I love the animations of characters bumping into each other in this game. They're so good. We also have these weird blocks on the bottom. I'm sure they're just able to be broken, probably from the buckets tossing stuff downward. And also you have this glowing light in between both the buckets, and when Toad goes through it with the drill, it will actually spawn some coins in that area. You can also see a giant fiery piranha plant down below the platform before Toad jumps off. The fire flower, like every item in the game, adds a cool little animation once you pick it up, which is really cool, where it'll show these fireballs fly around and the character hold the fireball up in the air. Yes, we could even see Elephant Daisy as well. Now let's move on over to the Wonder events. Every Wonder Flower has a different color, I guess, depending on the world that it comes from, which is pretty unique. One event has those drill birds shooting out bubbles this time that Mario can bounce up all the way to the top of the level instead of those drill platforms. One of the coolest ones, in my opinion, has Luigi actually running on the back wall instead of the actual platforms in 2D, which is really cool, where the condarts have to actually break paths for him in order to progress because he can't break the blocks being on that back wall, which changes everything. There's even gaps in the wall that Luigi could easily fall in. Also, if you look closely, before Luigi picks up these small purple coins, they actually have little eyes to them, and they'll start to squiggle and move away and run away from Luigi, where he has to chase them down, which is definitely different. I wonder if they can actually get all the way away, or do they stay within the level? There's one where it literally puts you in space floating around, where you have to kind of swim around and dodge floating objects and enemies, such as the hippos that could bounce you and the spikes up there. There's one situation where we can actually turn into a Goomba, which is really cool, where we can see Mario run away and start freaking out as enemies get close to him. And I really love this. You can see that maybe the Goomba is able to walk on the spikes down below where there's coins there. And also, this is not the only enemy that Mario is able to turn into. It seems like the Wonder Flower will also turn him into various different enemies throughout the game, thanks to the Japanese website, which actually shows us a couple more. There's also one that gives him the pea balloon effect from Super Mario World, which allows him to fly through the air. It also reminds me of Mario 64 DS, but also you have Goombrats falling from the sky with fans as well. I really like how Mario swings his arms to go into the other direction. It's really cool. Here we can see there's some levels that you have to have a certain amount of Wonder Seeds in order to kill the Piranha Plant for you to enter that level. Next, we have badges. Every time you get a badge, it'll actually go into the head of Prince Florian, which is pretty cool. But did you notice the little elephant watering can beside the resident? Then we get a big list of different badges you can collect, and there seems to be 24. There seems to be 9 orange common ones, 9 blue more rare ones, and it seems like there's also 6 super rare ones as well. We get a little list of some of them and how they're used. The parachute cap allows you to actually put your hat up in the air. I don't know, what the other characters are going to do yet, and it allows you to glide slowly to the ground. You also have wall climb, which allows you to go to the side of a wall and bounce all the way on top of the platform. Dolphin Kick allows you to kick really fast in the water and swim like a torpedo, almost like the frog suit from Mario Bros. 3. It even allows you to swim straight through bricks. You have the crouching high jump like from Mario 3D World, where when you crouch long enough, you'll do a flip all the way up in the air, jumping super high. You have the grappling vine, which actually gives you a grappling hook. I mean, you get a grappling hook in Mario before you did in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Safety bounce allows you to bounce off of the lava. It's probably not a whole bunch of times. I doubt it would let you keep doing it. Maybe it does. I don't know. I feel like it would only work once and then maybe there's a cooldown. Maybe not. But you also have sensor, which tells you when you're close to a secret item, which means it will help you to find stuff that you're missing in each level. Coin magnet will bring any coins nearby to you. That includes the purple ones as well. Invisibility literally makes you completely invisible. I mean, you can't even see yourself either. I can see people doing entire runs while completely invisible. That would be funny. And we have jet run, which makes you run a lot faster, and you even get some boost while running in the air a little bit when you run off of a platform, which is going to be really big for speedrunners. Also, take a closer look, because every time you use one of these badge effects, you'll notice some flower petals actually fall out of you when you use that certain effect. And it also depends on the color of that badge that you've collected as well, which is really cool. There also seems to be red flower characters only when you are in these training rooms with the badges. We also get 2 other ones explained to us, like the timed high jump that states, time consecutive jumps just right to jump higher than usual. You'll even jump higher on sand. And we have floating high jump, where it states jump higher than usual and momentarily float, like Luigi jumping higher and also Peach's float from Mario Bros. 2. Now it seems like it's also organized not just by rarity, but by what they are. For instance, at the top right, it says it's an action badge, meaning probably things that allows you to do certain actions, where the blue ones seem to be more based on different gimmicks that can happen around your character, such as pulling coins towards you or letting you know where there's items nearby. We can also see coin magnet, sensor, and safety bounce in the blue category, with also some new ones. One looks like it's a plus with coins called Coin Reward, which earns coins for defeating enemies, and we can see that the names of the blue ones are called boost badges. The mushroom one is called Auto Super Mushroom, and it says start a course with a super mushroom power up, so if you are a small character, you can automatically power yourself up at the beginning of each level. One's an exclamation block, not sure what that would do. Then we have 2 special ones, which we already know. One is jet run, and the other one, not really sure. It's a dotted outline circle, which looks like those dotted outline circles we've seen prior. I don't know what this could be though. So you can either complete the challenges in order to get these badges, or you can buy them at certain shops where you can also buy other items such as 1-ups. So I guess these creatures are called Poplins, and you can actually see one of their seeds on their head is already sprouted into a flower. They're pretty happy about it. Also, when you make a deal, they'll also sprout into a flower. Next, we jump into this scene where these punching, spike-helmeted wigglers are moving through this dotted line. Kind of like Pac-Man, it reminds me of. But you obviously will probably have to jump on that last segment that doesn't have a spiked helmet on it. Also, when you die in multiplayer, you can now come back as a ghost, where you can actually fully move your character now in order to get revived before your second timer is up, which is pretty cool. I like this a lot more than the bubble, just randomly floating around and then finally just kind of drifting towards another player. This time you can kind of control your character a little bit as a ghost and move them towards another. You also have a crown like Mario 3D World above the player that's currently doing the best and has the most points. Any character with any size, with any power-up, can ride Yoshi. Yep, that even includes Yoshi on Yoshi and Elephant Mario on Yoshi. We also have the Hammer Bros return. What kind of new Super Mario Bros. Game would it be without them? As they spawn from the goop down below, like we have seen with other enemies in this really cool, majestic looking kingdom again. I will say it every time. I love this area's theme. However, there's no proper online co-op. You can play with ghosts that run around a level with you, and they can give you items and even kind of communicate with you a little bit, and you can just see what everybody's doing. And if you die, you can actually get revived by one of the ghosts there as well. You can also see Mario's new death animation here, which is definitely a scarier look on his face. And in this section, the players are jumping off of a double layered cloud that looks like it's some type of cake with icing in the middle allowing you to bounce off of, and some of the rocks in the foreground and background actually look like tomatoes and different fruits. You can play standees during difficult portions of your level, which are actually just cardboard cutouts of your character that another player can actually go touch if they die. It looks like there's going to be a total of 144 standees that you can buy at random from the shops. We see Peach, Daisy, Yellow Toad, Yellow Bubble Toad, and even Daisy as an elephant. In this scene, we can see a little piranha plant sprout that looks like a jelly, and I don't know if it's because it's raining this time, it's actually active, but normally they're little statues or rocks that seem to be inactive. And I wonder if they have to do something with each level, as this one's kind of jelly filled like the gelatin that we can see beside it. You can also create a room with your friends where you guys can all gang up in one area and play through levels. Not necessarily together, they'll just be in ghost form. Or you can at least start a race together where everybody has to hit the checkered block and get ready and race to the end, which is pretty neat, I do agree. But I still wish there was actually proper online co-op. It just doesn't feel right without it, probably due to the lag that Nintendo had, especially with Mario Maker 2's online co-op. It was pretty terrible. This next scene, you have those striped blocks again, but this time the pole comes out vertically, allowing you to climb up and down it. This next scene is the only boss fight that we get to see again, and it's Bowser Jr. again that we've already seen from the very first trailer, which is weird, as if Nintendo is purposely hiding some of these boss battles. Now this does seem to be the exact same boss battle. The gold pipes at the top left and top right are exactly the same, and the background's the same, it just has less clouds in this version, probably because it's towards the end of the boss fight. Maybe it's when you start hitting him more and more, eventually the clouds will dissipate in the background, revealing the back of the stage. Based on that first trailer, it looked like Bowser Jr. and Mario would alternate being super big and super tiny. And we can see Mario being super tiny continuing in the new trailer, where it looks like everybody else is tiny as well, but they have the mini mushroom effect, allowing them to jump higher and float in the air longer. This also makes me wonder if the mini mushroom is actually in this game, we just haven't seen it yet. But Mini Mario jumps all the way across the room to jump on Bowser Jr.'s head, just like normal, which unfortunately doesn't look to be too difficult. Now there's a good chance that this is the mid-boss of the world, or maybe just one of the only times we'll fight Bowser Jr. like this, but with his mask and teeth, he definitely looks ferocious. You can also see Bowser Jr. and the entire stage glow red, probably because it's one of the final hits until he dies and maybe he gets ultra strong during this phase. But here's some more art of him based on the official Japanese Nintendo website. I really like his new design. We then can see a stage that looks like it is slices of cake like we've seen from the previous scene, where there's different layers to it, probably part of that candy area. We then come across a castle stage once again, that one that I love so much, and two Hammer Bros spawn on a row of bricks that we've seen that layout so many times in Mario Brothers. Then we see a scene where there's these blue diving condors that dive into the water in order to hit you like torpedo bullets, and then you also have Mario holding on to a blue shell swimming through the water with it, which he's able to control a lot easier, which reminds me once again of Super Mario Galaxy. I wonder if this is the same blue shell from New Super Mario Bros. DS, where he could actually get inside and roll around, and like he could in Mario 3D World. And now we just have a couple more slides towards the end of the video. We have Mario bouncing off of one of those giant balloon frogs, and it has confetti that's filled and blowing all around it. You can even see it flying with its little balloon tail end. We see those Reznor looking dinosaurs, and they actually are wearing pants if you look closely, like yoga pants, like they're almost training or something. Next we can see that express escalator all the characters are using, and you can even see one that boosts them up a wall as they hold on to it. This room we see Mario throw a P block up, and he has to throw it at the right time in order to break all the blocks to get the coins, because if he hits one of these platforms it'll stop moving, not allowing him to throw anything up there. You can see some more of those thwomp enemies falling down and rising up in order to smash Mario as it's breaking the blocks in between as well. Here we get an awesome view in this hub world where it's almost like 3D-like, reminding me of 3D World's hub worlds where we see this giant tree in the snow area. It's really beautiful. But that's the same thing that Captain Toad says. What a view. It's very easy to miss, but yep, that's Captain Toad right there. No clue what he does in this game. Is he an unlockable character? Does he have side missions? Does he do anything else? It's hard to say. This seems to be a secret area as there's a pipe that leads to it on this small island, so I do wonder what Captain Toad has to do in this game. Then see Yoshi running through what seems to be a Sky World bonus level, as he also has a timer to jump on these colored blocks where there's music notes in the background as well. So it's probably like the beat blocks from Mario 3D World where they appear and disappear at a certain time, or you just have to go incredibly fast before the platform disappears. Here's a scene where the whole crew are elephants, but why is everything so big? Well, I don't think it's that everything is big, it's just everybody's in the foreground, as you can see the normal stage back there. There's another silhouette stage that has hot heads going around the platforms, and you can also see an on and off switch that Mario could hit. And also Mario getting electrocuted. In this scene we see different colors smoke piranha plants that are guarding Bowser, and as you can see, one of them seems to disappear thanks to this magical super wonder seed. And you can see Bowser's kind of in a daze and dizzy from it happening, so it looks like each color is going to coordinate to each world, that you have to slowly remove all these smoke piranha plants by collecting these super wonder seeds in order to reach the castle. Which also reminded me for some reason that scene in the first trailer with the Yoshis dodging the new bullet bills. You can see Bowser's castle off in the background, which is pretty much it floating in the sky, because we know underneath it is actually Bowser in that giant mechanical form. I also wanted to point out that a lot of this design is not just the castle that's turned into Bowser's castle at the top, is it has to do with the clown car as well. Yep, the clown car that Bowser jumped off of might also be the design for how the castle is floating on this giant clown car-like Mecha Bowser. So really it's like a combination between the clown car, Bowser, and Prince Florian's castle. We then have a scene where everybody's riding these Lakitu clouds that are coming out of a silvery white pipe, and they're all riding them through these green flames in some type of factory setting, which to me might be inside of the Mecha Bowser. We can also see a Bowser symbol on the block to the left. We then have a night sky where all the characters are running, and there's power stars falling from the sky, allowing you to power up and get Star Mario again, once again being a returning item. And finally, we can see everybody as balloons as well within this balloon Wonderflower scene. Okay, that was a lot to unpack. Now, the Japanese website has even more pictures, and I'm going to show you guys some of these in just in a little final slideshow before wrapping up, so feel free to take a look, and if you want to see more of these, just go to the official Japanese Mario Wonder website. And those are all the details that you could have missed in the brand new showcase for Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Now listen, I am sure that there's going to be even more details that I've missed, but that is now up to you guys. Let me know if I missed anything that you picked up on down below, and comment what's your favorite part about this entire showcase. What are you most excited about? What are you the most disappointed about? Let me know down below. And thank you so much for tuning in. This video obviously took a very long time, as is one of my longest videos yet on this channel. So please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Mario Wonder and Nintendo in general, and help us reach 250,000 subscribers members by this video alone. Let's see how many people we can get to subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.